Welcome to the TOEFL podcast number 7. This is the TOEFL podcast number 7, the podcast for those studying for the test of English as a foreign language or the IELTS exam, or for anyone who wants to improve their English. I'm Dr. Jeff McQuillan, your host from the Center for Educational Development in Los Angeles, California. Remember, we have another podcast, the English as a Second Language podcast, which is every day, Monday through Friday. Go to our website, ESLPod.com. We also have another new podcast you might want to listen to. It's called English Through Stories for advanced speakers of English, and we have a new episode or new part of the story every week. So listen to that as well. Go to our website, EnglishThroughStories.com, for more information. Today's podcast is going to be about doing a project together. Let's get started.
Well, while we're waiting for the other two members of our group, let's read through the assignment guidelines for this group project. We're supposed to come up with a presentation on one of the topics on this list.
Yeah, and the professor said that we have to work collaboratively. How long does the presentation need to be?
It's supposed to be 15 minutes. We're going to be graded on the presentation itself and on how well we work as a team.
Okay, let's get moving on it while we're waiting. What do we do first? Maybe we should decide on a topic.
I don't think we can do that without the other two people. Let's brainstorm on what the major tasks are that need to be done.
Sure, that makes sense. Then we can assign responsibility to each of us for the tasks. We want everyone pulling their own weight. We need to research the topic and write up an outline for the presentation. Someone needs to actually give the presentation.
Well, I think it may be a good idea for all of us to give some part of the presentation to share the load. For instance, one of us could do the introduction and conclusion, and one of us could give the historical background. Then someone else could give the facts and figures, and one of us could handle the graphics. What do you think?
That sounds okay to me. Here comes the other two. Let's bring them up to speed. We heard two students talking about doing a project together. A project is when the professor gives you something that requires a lot of work. Different parts of the assignment require work, often by more than one person. And in American universities, it is common that you are put in, or you select a group of students that you are going to work with, and you all get the same grade on the project. In this particular example, the woman starts by saying, let's read through the assignment guidelines for this group project. To read through means to read thoroughly. To read through something is to read it the whole thing. The assignment guidelines are the rules or what the professor tells you your assignment should be. An assignment, of course, is just something you do and give to your professor, and he or she gives you a grade on it. We've already explained a group project, a project you do with other people in your class, other students. This particular project is a presentation. And a presentation, of course, is when you stand up in front of a group of people and give them information, tell them something. The man says that they have to work collaboratively. To work collaboratively here is an adverb. It means to work with other people. To collaborate as a verb means that you are going to work together with someone else to accomplish or to finish something. The woman says that they will be graded on the presentation itself and on how well they work as a team. To be graded on, you can guess, just means this is what you are going to get a grade for. You'll be graded on, for example, your spelling and your punctuation, if this were an English class. To be graded on is what you receive your grade for. To work as a team just means to work together, to work all doing or trying to accomplish the same thing, to be nice to people, to cooperate. These are all part of working as a team. The man is a little impatient, meaning he doesn't want to wait anymore, and he says, let's get moving on it. To get moving on something is to begin something, to start working on something. Usually we use this expression, get moving on it, when we are late or we don't have very much time or we're impatient. We want to start right away. The woman says that they should wait until the other two members of their group arrive in order to pick a topic, but she suggests that they brainstorm on what the major tasks are. To brainstorm, all one word, brain, like the brain in your head, storm, like a weather storm, raining and so forth. A brainstorm is when you try to think of as many ideas as possible. And it's what you do often when you begin a project. You sit down and think, what are all the things I need to do? And you write them down, and other people give you suggestions. This is to brainstorm. The major tasks are just the most important things or most important steps that you have to take to finish your project. The man says, sure, that makes sense. When we say something makes sense, we mean that we understand and that it's something that you agree with, or at least that you understand. This doesn't make sense to me means I don't understand this. We can assign responsibility, the man says, for each of the tasks. To assign responsibility means to give responsibility. You're going to do this, and you're going to do that, and you're going to do that. And you either have someone tell you what you're going to do, or you agree as a team or a group on who will do what. That's assigning responsibility. The man says that he wants to make sure everyone is pulling their own weight. To pull your own weight means to do your part of the task, for you to do as much work as everyone else. To pull your own weight means to do what you are supposed to do and that you do as much as other people in your group. The man suggests that they write an outline for the presentation. An outline, all one word, means a list of the topics of the presentation in the order that you are going to talk about them. An outline for a paper would be a list of the topics you're going to discuss in a paper in the order you're going to write about them. The woman suggests that each person do part of the presentation to share the load. The expression to share the load is similar to pulling your own weight. It means that you are doing your part of the task, that everyone is equal in doing the difficult parts of the task. To share the load means we have a difficult thing to do, everyone will do a little bit of it. Everyone will do part of it. In a presentation, you have an introduction where you begin and you tell people what you're going to tell them. And you have a conclusion or an end where you tell people what you told them. Some parts of a presentation, an academic presentation, may require you talk about the history of this idea or this event. And we would call that giving the historical background. The background information is things about that topic. The historical background are things about that topic set in or discussed in a historical or history-related context. The woman says that someone can give the facts and figures and someone could handle the graphics. The facts and figures just means the details, the specific, usually in a list of ideas, of facts, of numbers. Figures are, of course, numbers. So facts and figures are ideas and numbers that are involved in the presentation. It's the main part of the presentation. The graphics just refers to any visual thing, a chart, a graph, a picture. These could all be called graphics. The man says that's a good idea, and he sees his two members of his team that are arriving, and he says, let's bring them up to speed. To bring someone up to speed means that you are giving them the information that they missed. So, for example, if you come late to a meeting and you say to someone, bring me up to speed, means tell me what I missed. Tell me what happened before I got here. Now let's listen to the podcast, this time at a native rate of speech.
Well, while we're waiting for the other two members of our group, let's read through the assignment guidelines for this group project. We're supposed to come up with a presentation on one of the topics on this list.
Yeah, and the professor said we have to work collaboratively. How long does the presentation need to be?
It's supposed to be 15 minutes. We're going to be graded on the presentation itself and on how well we work as a team.
Okay, let's get moving on it while we're waiting. What do we do first? Maybe we should decide on a topic.
I don't think we can do that without the other two people. Let's brainstorm on what the major tasks are that need to be done.
Sure, that makes sense. Then we can assign responsibility to each of us for the tasks. We want everyone pulling their own weight. We need to research the topic and write up an outline for the presentation.
Well, I think it may be a good idea for all of us to give some part of the presentation to share the load. For instance, one of us could do the introduction and conclusion, and one of us could give the historical background. Then someone else could give the facts and figures, and one of us could handle the graphics. What do you think?
That sounds okay to me. Here comes the other two. Let's bring them up to speed. Now some comprehension questions. Why don't the two students pick a topic for their presentation? A, they needed to move seats. B, the rain was too loud. C, they needed more historical background. D, two of their team members weren't present. The correct answer is D. 2 of their teammates weren't present. The first answer, A, they needed to move seats, is a type of answer you will see in TOEFL and IELTS that tries to trick you because you heard the expression get moving, and because you heard that, you might think they have to move. But of course, to get moving means to get started. The second answer, B, is also incorrect. Here, what happens is that they use a word, rain, which sounds like brain, or storm is related to rain. So they are trying to trick you, to fool you, by using or talking about rain, when the actual expression was brainstorm, which has nothing to do with rain. The answer number C says they needed more historical background. Well, the term historical background is mentioned in the dialogue, but you don't want to simply answer something because it sounds like something you heard in the dialogue. That's a very common way that the people who write the TOEFL exam use to trick you into getting the wrong answer. The correct answer is, of course, D. 2 of the team members weren't present. Now let's do another comprehension question. What will the man in this conversation do next? A. Pick a topic for the presentation. B. Tell the others what he and the woman decided. C. Work on the graphics and figures for the presentation. Or D. Drive his car to the library to do research. The correct answer is B. Tell the others what they decided. At the end of the dialogue, the man says he's going to bring them up to speed. And we talked about how to bring someone up to speed means that you are going to tell them what they missed. So that is exactly what he is going to do. He's going to tell the other 2 members of their group what he and the woman decided. The first answer, to pick a topic for the presentation, is mentioned in the dialogue, but that's what the woman says they can't do until the other 2 come. But before they can pick a topic, they need to find out what happened. The answer number C, work on graphics and figures for the presentation, is also incorrect. Again, graphics and figures are mentioned, but this is an example of mentioning something in the answer, hoping that you'll think it is the right answer. Just because you see it in the answer doesn't mean it is the correct one. The last answer is also wrong. Drive his car to the library to do research. The last expression is, let's bring them up to speed. And you might think, oh, well, speed, something to do with cars, driving. But of course, to bring them up to speed means to tell them what they missed. That's all for today's TOEFL podcast. Remember, you can visit our website at www.TOEFLPod.com. From Los Angeles, I'm Jeff McQuillan. We'll see you next time on the TOEFL Podcast. TOEFL Podcast is a production of the Center for Educational Development in Los Angeles, California. Copyright 2005. TOEFL is a registered trademark of the Educational Testing Service, which does not endorse and was not involved in the production of this podcast.